The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.
Shalom, shalom. Come on in.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Blessings, brothers and sisters. Come on in.
In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom, shalom.
We be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, the highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children and sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, a highest gathering Israel, Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, a highest gathering Israel.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly podcast broadcast. And I would like to say blessings to all you brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. Thanks for being with us. We're going to jump right in. I know I'm a little late. I'm sorry for the tardiness, but we're here. Oh, yeah, you see the topic. What are they planning in the inner cities? Yes, you would want to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you share this broadcast this evening with everyone you know. Again, I'm Elder Ricard Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church. All praises be to the God of Israel. Ahaya, in the name of Yeshua, which is Jesus, through the Holy Spirit, for giving us breath, opportunity, time, and knowledge to come before you this evening. And make sure that you chime in through Blog Talk after this. Call in, because I would like to see through your eyes what's exactly going on in your particular area. There's some strange things going on. And it seems as if the people living in the United States, or our people in particular, aren't in the know. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. Now, before I go into that, let me make it clear that we are taking enrollments for the next Hebrew and Bible Academy. Okay, so we got a few weeks left here. We're going into Christianity. We're going to deal with it this coming Sunday. We'll be dealing with Christianity from a more what you would call scholarly standpoint, even though we give you literature and all these other things so that you can actually back up what you receive in that academy with empirical facts, okay? But we're going into it from a scholarly standpoint, and we're going to find out, we have a big reveal. Who was the Jesuit that came up with the virgin birth theology? What Jesuit? That's right, folks. There was a Jesuit in our, really within the last few hundred years. There was no such theology out there amongst the disciples of a virgin birth. So we're going to go into it from a scholarly standpoint and go into the other records to show what it means by the virgin, opposed to the old ancient Virgin of Semiramis that modern day pagans are pushing through Christianity. You don't want to miss that. We're going to bring in and we're going to bring out the facts. Okay. It was a Jewish guy, but he was also a Jesuit who came up with the virgin birth theory. And we're going to talk about that, put it on the table and ask, is this correct? Or what does the Bible say in viewing that current theological point that's being pushed through modern day Christianity? That and more this coming Sunday. So you don't want to miss that. Okay. So what we're going to do is this week, we're going to say, this is what the Christian churches have been teaching us in our churches, right? Here are all the points you can find in all the churches. It doesn't matter what denomination you belong to. But this is what the Bible actually says. Okay. So the conflict isn't with the Bible. The Bible isn't the problem at all. Okay. The Bible isn't the problem. It's these people who came up with their own theories to actually push the secret religions they were following in secret amongst pagans. So I'm going to talk about that and more. You don't want to miss that this coming Sunday. And of course, a lot of these topics that we dive in on, I'm going to make sure we touch on them next academy too. So make sure you're involved. Go to historytimes.org. And also what I'm going to do here, folks, the last lesson of this Hebrew and Bible Academy, week 12, is the judgment against rebellion. What we're going to do is go into all of the history concerning this place called hell or Hades. Okay? You have a lot of different thoughts on this particular area, right? Claiming that it's a condition. Hell really doesn't exist. What is it? Well, folks, wait till you see what I unfold. I'm going into all the extra biblical texts as well as the Bible to bring that realm into view, to have everyone understand what this place is. And guess what, folks? The Most High himself, believe it, I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to visions and all these others, he have given people an insight that this place actually exists. Okay. And on top of that, okay, I'm getting chills almost speaking about this. Azariah, a brother who used to produce our weekly broadcast and bring in the guests, may the Most High may rest in paradise until he's restored, and he will be restored. He came back and told me, Elder, you have to tell them everything you all been teaching is real. Okay. I asked to come back to tell you that it's real. There's a whole nother life on this other side. Folks, I'm going to go into that last week of the academy, the judgment on the rebellious. You don't want to miss this, folks. I'm going into what Paul was shown when he was taken up. Paul was taken up, folks, into the third heaven. He was shown all types of things. Ezra was taken up. He was shown Moses, Christ. All through the Bible, they were dealing with both realms. The prophets were able to actually deal in both realms. You don't want to miss week 12. The judgment on the rebellion. Wait till you hear this. Okay, so that's all I have to say. If you want to be involved in the Hebrew Bible Academy, let me tell you, I can sincerely tell you, brothers and sisters, there's nothing like it on earth. Nothing. When it comes to learning this Bible, as it is written, there's nothing like it. And it throws out opinion. It throws out what people might think. This is what God says, period. And more people, if they follow the Bible based on what it said, what's written, more people would believe in the Bible than not. The issue is people are viewing the Bible by those who are claiming to uphold it. And that's the biggest stumbling block when it comes to those who tend to not trust the Bible. It isn't because anything they didn't read out of the Bible or read themselves. It's because they are measuring whether or not the Bible is true through people. Okay, so that's all I have to say on that. Go to historytimes.org to enroll, okay? And we're going to try to get people in early. So the earlier you enroll, the earlier we'll get this thing working where we can jump right in for the next academy and get this thing working, okay? Now, what do I have to talk about today? Well, I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go back to the so-called, the pandemic or whatever the case, during that time period. It seems no sooner as the Biden administration got footing in the office, it seems as if there was a concentrated attack that our people didn't know but felt since he was put into office. Now, I'm not going to talk about Donald Trump or whatever the case is. This is no endorsement of Donald Trump. I'm just telling you what we began to experience in the inner cities. It seems like everything was on the uptick before the new administration. And it seems as if everything began to go down ever since there was questions concerning that election. And could there be a plan going on within the cities unbeknownst to us? Because I don't think anything is a coincidence. As a matter of fact, I know it isn't. There's no governments out there operating willy-nilly without a strategic plan for that government. Okay? And I know the suffering and what our people are going through in the inner cities. It seems as if it's a specific target on our people. Okay? And I'm here to do what? I'm here to expose the lies with the Bible and do what? Let everyone understand and see the unseen hand according to God, and let you all know prophetically where we are. Okay? Because we're living in a time where who to trust can literally mean life or death for an individual. Who you trust can lead to what? That being the last decision or the last person you would trust while on earth. So it's our position to roll it all out there so that you can get what? You can get a key on what side to be on while the attacks are ensuing. Okay? Now, the Bible told us this. Let me get here first. In the Apocrypha, it told us in the last days a few things that will be going on, right? When you read 2 Ezra 16 and 17, it says, woe is me. Woe is me. Woe means destruction. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the powers shall stand in fear. Now, when it says the powers, folks, it's not speaking of the people. Okay. This is speaking of the powers who are controlling things, the principalities who are controlling governments. The beginning of evils. Now, why would the powers be afraid? Because they must oppress the righteous before the prophecy. See, they see us waking up and they understand the closer our people come to the promise, the closer they begin to come to their judgment. So even the unseen principalities and powers who are controlling governments are in fear. They're fearing that our people are actually waking up with no help from any of them. So that tells the powers that be that our God is actually resonating and speaking to his people. And that's a judgment in of itself that the powers that be are afraid of. Okay, the miseducation, the false education, the false religion, they know that if our people are finding out the truth concerning ourselves as Israelites, it must be coming from God, because they would never tell us the truth. Therefore, they're in fear. The beginning of evils. And what shall we do? What shall I do when these evils shall come? And I know a lot of us are asking that question. Well, it's coming. What shall we do? Now, it's no wonder that these particular scriptures I'm reading is in the original Bible. The Bible, they won't let us get access to in the Christian church and our black Christian churches. But yet these same scriptures are in every Catholic Bible on earth. But why don't they give us these scriptures in the inner cities? It's a form of religious control. Okay. So I'm reading what's in the Bible, the original Bible that was translated. Behold, famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So it's twofold. Onefold, the evil darkness is working. The evildoers, and I'm talking about the child sacrificers, the Moloch sacrifices, they're working. But the whole deal is the Most High is going to allow them to work until they be taken out of the way. And all those who fall under sin or under the control of these evil workers will actually be an amendment or judgment for them not following the righteous path. So either way, the Most High judgment is in it. We just have to make sure we're not falling on the wrong side of this judgment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of their scourges. So the pain and scourges coming on our people, but still we begin to operate as if nothing is happening, ignoring the obvious, that things are working right around us in plain sight, but yet we tend to ignore it, intentionally thinking that it's going to turn back to the glory days. No, it's not going back to the glory days. This continued hope of when we believe that things were on the uptick and glorious and beautiful, folks, they ended that. The only thing that we have to look forward to is the memories we have amongst our families when times were better. Even though we suffered, we can hold on to those memories. But there's no hope for America becoming anything what we used to love when it comes to allowing us to operate freely as a people with family. A matter of fact, they have utterly decimated. They have utterly destroyed the family unit. They have decimated it. That's the only thing we had to look forward to. Even while suffering, we still had family, which is name and legacy. And then it tell you in the 21st verse, behold, victuals shall be good cheap upon earth, that they should think themselves to be in good case. So because you can still go out and buy and do certain things, and it is lulling people into a false sense of security because they can still operate to some degree. But each day, if you notice, folks, people are what? Through financial restraints, are operating less and less, having no means to operate with. It's like a slow being choked out slowly by a giant, right? But we're wondering where's all this coming from? I know I'm being attacked, but we can't put our hand on it, right? That they should think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, which is war, famine, and great confusion. This is the point I wanted to bring out right here. Great confusion. See? So they'll be doing the great sleight of hand. Our people understand we're under attack, but don't know exactly where the attacks are coming from. And it's confusion because we can't pinpoint who's our friend and who's our enemy. Right? But if you're on this broadcast today, hopefully through the Spirit of the Most High, a lot of that clears up, right? For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, that's lack of bread, and other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. That means they're going to be throwing dead people out like they're nothing. To a degree where death in of itself, people are going to become desensitized to it. And I believe to some degree, we're already here. Well, we've been hearing of so many deaths and having so many different funerals that guess what? It's not even an anomaly. It doesn't even hurt the same anymore. And that's why the Bible says the love of many shall wax cold. This is what happens when you're inundated psychologically with attacks on a regular basis. You tend to not care, and it desensitizes you from the things that makes us human, that makes us people. A lot of y'all, you say the Trojan horse, and y'all right on point. The Trojan horse tactics and things. Let me tell you, one thing I like about those who view this broadcast, you're tuned in, you're linked in, and I can tell you're doing a lot of study and research, even on the outside of here, and I commend you for that. Right? But let me show you how we can pull this prophecy the Most High showed Esdras together by showing you how the administration have been working since they got into office. All right. And when I say the administrations, I understand that, when it comes to politicians, a lot of these people are figureheads. You have to understand the lobbyists and those who are working behind closed doors to know who's really in control. Right. But let me show you what affected our people in particular. Okay. In the inner cities. Right. When you go back to April 1st, April Fool, 2021. April Fool, 2021. This is when they were seeking to get some type of what you would call mass support when it came to the hesitancy of the juice, I'm going to call it. Right? And I'm not really talking about this more so than who is in place to urge our people to make decisions. And who's in place now when it comes to key points of what? Key points of indecision on wondering or making a decision as a community on who to trust. Who do they usually utilize to have us make certain decisions when it comes to crisis? Because don't forget, we're going from one crisis to the next, one crisis to the next. Okay. So here it is, April 1st, 2021. Pastors prepare a message to remove hesitancy ahead of Easter Sunday. Right? I'm going way back to April 1st, 2021, where the pastors were being urged to use Easter Sunday as a platform, knowing that the majority of the people in the community, even if they aren't regular churchgoers, usually come in on Easter and or Christmas, right? So let's talk about these pastors in the inner city. Now, who's reporting this? His name is Craig Wall. Who is Craig Wall? Craig Wall was named a political reporter for ABC 7 News in Chicago. Remember that, right? So he's reporting this, right? But he's reporting this, right? And what do we see here? Right? Chicago pastors on Easter Sunday or whatever the case is, right? All right, let me move this again. We don't want no nuggets, right? Let's do this again, right? 1 second. And I'm going to pause this because what I wanted you all to see real quick, right? What I wanted you all to see is there was a picture of primarily black pastors, right? So usually when they use black pastors, that's speaking specifically to a specific demographic they're looking to urge towards something one way or the other, right? Let me get this off the screen first, because obviously they want to deal with this ad and it's not going to allow me to deal with anything until it's gone. So I'm going to get this out of here first. 1 second. I'm patient. All right. Now, as you can see, who do we have here? This is April 1st, 2021. And there's a pastor by the name of Bishop Simon Gordon of Tridestone Church of Chicago. Right? Y'all see him there? Now, just remember, I showed y'all this, right? So it's about the hesitancy of our people in the community, and they use this pastor by the name of Bishop Simon Gordon, right? To say what? Message to remove the hesitancy ahead of Easter Sunday. Now, this was before we were hearing in our neighborhoods, or whatever the case is. We were hearing the threat of it, but we were fully intact before making some of these decisions, right? And it seems like, a lot of people, since those, whatever that happened back then, seems like there've been a lot of burials lately, right? So let's keep in mind that nothing is by chance. It started off here with this Chicago pastor, right? Who said some Chicago pastors prepared Easter Sunday. Now, they're supposed to be talking about the resurrection of Christ, folks. That's what they claim they were there for. A message that will be aimed at a different group of unbelievers. Okay? Latina and black communities who do not feel safe taking something, right? So they wanted to make blacks and so-called Latinas, who we know are Israelites, comfortable with accepting whatever they were rolling out in 2021. Okay? The Biden administration, right? And they're using this pastor in particular to do it. So let me go here now. Fair use. Fair use. I need y'all to check this out years ago, and I'm going to show you how it all makes sense. Fair use. One second. Fair use. Fox 10.
The homeless crisis has exploded with a pocket of streets in downtown Phoenix. And tonight, in a Fox 10 investigation, we kick off a series of reports on the issues and proposed solutions.
There are more than 1,000 unsheltered people living on the streets of an encampment just a little bit east of the state capitol, known as the Zone.
Now, folks, what I'm showing you is years ago, folks. During that whole time, they were talking about a migrant cat crisis or a homeless crisis in Phoenix, California, and different areas, right? Now, through these particular, what they call crisis, governments had to come in to build some type of sustainable housing for the homeless, right? Well, that's what we're being told. But just hypothetically, and I'm going to put a hypothetical out there. Just hypothetically, could these people be a cover for what they're building or the infrastructure they're putting in place for something else? Could the moving people around be the cover for what they're actually building? So to not have the population question why all of these trucks are coming in, why all these finances are coming in to build these structures and temporary housing, so that people can't question an initiative that governments wouldn't be putting money behind for no reason. Could that be hypothetical? I'm gonna let you come to your own conclusions. Now, remember what the Bible said we will be under. Could this moving people around, hypothetical, just be a cover so that they don't have to explain the billions of dollars that are going into alternative housing for any specific reason? Remember, I told y'all this first. Fair use. Educational purposes only.
It's less than a mile from the state capitol. Investigative reporter Justin Lum has been spending some time there the last few weeks. He joins us live tonight.
John, Christina, a near 450% increase in people camped out on the streets in this one concentrated area compared to this time last year. You may have passed by it or even driven through it. We went to see this unsheltered population for ourselves. What's surrounding Arizona's largest emergency shelter is tough to absorb and very
Now, normally I would buy that they're caring, that they're genuinely caring about these particular people out there homeless who are Americans. Genuinely, I would say, okay, we need to do something, right? But see, brothers and sisters, you have to look at these so-called stories or hit pieces, or not hit pieces, but photo ops correctly. Like I would actually believe what they were saying, folks, if all the money that's going to the Ukraine, the war in Israel, and all these other places were actually just given to these people to have homes. End of story. Just a fraction of what they're paying for war and all these other things in Ukraine and all that. They could have had all of these people in some nice spots. Don't tell me you couldn't, because the Ukrainians are coming in over here getting apartments, jobs, and all that right now. So I would normally believe that they were trying to put a spotlight on this, right, under the lens of philanthropy, if they took some of that money that they use for other things that Americans don't agree on and actually help these people. So we know they have the money to help these people, right, if they wanted to, right? Now, let's just remember that. We know they have the money. Billions just went into a war right now over there, Palestine and Israel. So we know they have the money if they really want these people off the street, right? I'm going to show y'all how to look at the news, how to really view the news when they're telling you that something is being established, when the news is being used to have you agree with something that you would normally question. Like, yo, You see those trucks came up in here? Now just imagine, folks, if there's no migration crisis and the news didn't tell you something, and you see a bunch of trucks rolling up into your neighborhood building something. You would look at that with a side eye, right? Like, hold up. How they rolling trucks in here and our people suffering and need jobs and no one came to us to actually be a part of this infrastructure building? How can you build in my community and don't give me a piece by allowing me to get jobs here? So we would be looking at it sideways if they didn't come with a convenient story, right? Follow me with it. Follow me.
Concerning to property and business owners there. How did it get to this point, and what's being done to address this complex crisis? Here's episode 1 of our series, A City of 1,000. Is this normal? Is this a busy time right now?
No, this is normal. And quite frankly, it could be 2 in the morning and it'll still be like this.
Hey, folks, this was years ago. So this is not a new thing that we see with Chicago, New York, right? They did the same thing over in California, Arizona, where they used the migrants in the tents as an excuse to build infrastructures that now no one is talking about. Right? So it depends on, okay, what city we need to build one of these next, right? Probably. Okay, let's get the people out, bust them in, and we'll use this as a cover and all that, whatever the case is, possibility. And if what I'm saying is more than a possibility, everyone here better take heed, because I'm putting it together for you. Fair use.
Tucked away in the concrete jungle of downtown Phoenix is a hidden community. Streets covered in nylon and polyester, tents spanning across several blocks.
The reality here is completely different than the general reality of the planet.
The reality here starts from 9th Ave to 13th Ave, between Jefferson and just south of Jackson. Nearly 1,100 unsheltered people, all with different stories. Their home is in the zone.
Okay, you hear the violins, right? You hear that, folks? Every time you hear the violins and the pianos, you're being suckered in. They're playing on your proverbial heartstrings. Don't go for that. Okay? Understand the music is being done in an entirely different production room for editing. Okay? It's for the emotion factor. Because if you buy into the emotion, then you are in agreement with the solution. Okay? So don't buy into the violins, okay? If they cared about these people, the billions of dollars we see being spent in war and all that, Ukrainians and all that, who people have nothing to do with the United States, they would have been solved this issue. So ignore the violins.
For almost 4 years, Greg Depker has experienced chronic homelessness, and for close to the last 3 months, he's been...
I know what homelessness is, brothers and sisters. But what's chronic homelessness? I know what homelessness is, but what's chronic homelessness? That's a whole nother level, huh? This guy is suffering from chronic homelessness.
For almost 4 years, Greg Depker has experienced chronic homelessness, and for close to the last 3 months...
And let me tell you, if this is what chronic homelessness looks like, then listen,
for almost 4 years...
I need to bring you downtown Philadelphia. Because I never seen a chronic homeless guy walking around with a pair of shades on his head. Okay? You're in the wrong, y'all in the wrong part of town to know what chronic homelessness looks like. All right?
Years, Greg Depker has experienced chronic homelessness, and for close to the last 3 months, he's been sleeping in a tent, he says, by choice. I asked him about the dangers of living here.
About 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, 20 gunshots going off, which meant there were 2 different guns going at each other, with a nonprofit right over there serving us breakfast on.
Okay, so I'm looking at how he's centered, where he is. I'm looking at the producers who all got the piece together. Okay, you stand over here. Here's the microphone. Let's put the mic over him, right? And I'm looking at the setting, right? So you have to realize, if you dealt in music, if you dealt with production, you'll understand when a production is getting done. Okay? This don't look like nothing chronic to me, but it's still a piece that will allow us to accept something being built in another city. Now, that was years ago. I digress. Now, let's bring it up to today. Chicago. Folks, I need y'all to look at this. Look at these facilities. What exactly does these facilities look like? Right? Bear with me. All right. Now, don't form your own understanding or opinion, as they would like you not to, on what you think this looks like. Let the talking heads tell you what it is. Fair use.
The mayor's office confirming tonight that the type of giant framed tents that are currently being used to house migrants in New York City are similar to what Chicago is looking to do to ease the migrant housing crisis here.
So the same thing they're doing in New York near Brooklyn is what they're talking about doing here. Now, I went from that same pastor, folks, 2021, who was saying we need to do something about our black people being hesitant to make a health choice, right? Remember him, Simon, remember him, right? And now here we go again in Chicago here, saying that, well, okay, Chicago need to do what New York has done, right? Are y'all following me here, right? So let's check it out.
The mayor and his team briefing members of the city council about the limited details of the plan this afternoon, saying each tent would house 500 to 1,000 people. They asked for help finding 2-acre or larger sites in every ward where tents could possibly be placed.
Now, you notice they moved from migrant to the verbiage of people. See, most people would not have recognized that, right? So they're using the migrant thing as an excuse for funding to actually build these so-called tent cities. But then they pivot off from it so that they can be able to, through plausible deniability, tell us, well, we told you it was for people too. Listen again.
Finding 2-acre or larger sites in every ward where tents could possibly be placed.
This is an all-hands-on-deck request. We're going to have to scour the city and look for locations that this can be implemented.
Mayor Johnson telling...
Hold up. Let's scour the city where the poor lives. We're going to scour the city. We don't know exactly where we're going to put these things right now. We're just going to scour the city to figure out where to put some of these things, right? And now, here's the mayor.
Reporters earlier that some locations have been identified. There is some talk that this former grocery store parking lot at 115th and Halsted is a possible site. Johnson did not tell alderpersons how the tent cities would be paid for, but his team estimates.
So that could be a site. You know, we just guessed that could be a site, even though the Gathering of Christ Church have been reporting since 2012, 2013 about the closing sites that they have of supermarkets, Walmarts, and all these others. When you take the word Walmart and flip it around, it's martial law, okay? It's almost synonymous to the commissary that you would have in jail, or not just in jail, but in military, where it's one-stop shopping for a reason, right? Follow me here.
that some locations have been identified. There is some talk that this former grocery store parking lot
Hit
at
the like button.
115th and Halsted is a possible site. Johnson did not tell alderpersons how the tent cities would be paid for, but his team estimated the projected cost of the migrant crisis will reach $300 million by
300 what? It would reach 300 million? So that's not enough to break off these people some money so that they can get their own businesses going? So to not be homeless? So think about this. 300 million. Not to our people who are suffering in the inner cities, right? Now, I know y'all saying, Elder, you spoke about this before. Where are you going now? I'm putting it together for you all. I said earlier, it seemed as if when the administration came in, hell began to rain down on our people, in particular, not realizing that we were under attack. And who would they use? Through proxy to attack us. You have to find out the people they rolled out to have us trust their initiatives. Because every time there's a crisis, they roll the same people out. And it's time that our people begin to recognize who these people are. Okay? You can look online, you can go all over the place. You're going to find out that I'm the first person that have put this together the way I'm about to roll it out. You've never seen it like I'm about to put it together for you right now. No one is talking about it. What I'm doing is I'm pulling on all the threads and looking at who's financing who, and it goes right back to a particular people using our people as fronts.
year's end.
The sacrifices that will be required in this moment will be necessary from all of us, every single level of government. Look, I can tell you that the cost of inaction will be far more substantial.
The goal is to get all the migrants out of.
That was a guy who told Chicagoans that the young men would have jobs, they'll have tutor programs, and that he's going to change the course of the youth in Chicago. When he beat out Heavyfoot. Right? Now let's see what his plan was. Or can he actually bring forth his own initiatives for the people who voted him in? You think he have the power to do that, folks? Or is he following a script? I don't know. Let's see.
Will be necessary from all of us, every single level of government. Look, I can tell you that the cost of inaction will be far more substantial.
The goal is to get all the migrants out of police stations as soon as possible. Reaction is mixed.
Now, let's go to the heartstrings again, folks. Who didn't know that Chicago is the last place anyone wants to be wandering outside during the dead of winter? So they knew when bringing those people in strategically at that time that it would be what? A compounded crisis, knowing that the majority of people there would die on those streets if they weren't given help. Well, if that's the case, why did you bring them there? See, that puts extra pressure on the citizens. Okay? That puts pressure on the citizens to actually have a heart towards these people who are suffering because we are loving people. They strategically placed this mental anguish on the people who are already suffering. Right?
It was not a clear plan. You know you have the buses coming. Get prepared. There was no preparation, and you know that they were coming. And so now we're having to clean the mess up. At what expense?
It's a marginal improvement from the lobby of a police station. It's not a permanent solution. It just gets us out of the current crisis.
Sources say the idea of housing.
So it gets us out of the current crisis. From one crisis to the next. And who's being squeezed the whole time? Right? This is how our people are getting attacked indirectly, politically, without understanding we're actually getting attacked.
Housing migrants in giant tents was proposed a year ago, but was immediately rejected by then Mayor Lori Lightfoot. But with shelters now slow to come online, the current administration has its back up against the wall with limited options.
Watch breaking news on YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to watch some breaking news. Check this out right here, right? This is current now. Fair use for educational purposes only.
In fact, Val, it's happening right now. Take a look over my right shoulder. 80 migrants being moved from the District 5 police station into 4 different churches across the city. This is all part of Mayor Johnson's Unity Initiative, announced yesterday. Migrants will be moving into church shelters. The migrants sleeping here at the police station have been slowly packing up their belongings this morning.
Oh! Can y'all see this now? Can y'all see this? So, of course, you're going to put the pressure on the churchgoers and say, why would Jesus allow these migrants to die in the streets? As if it's right on cue. But not just any pastors, folks, is opening up their churches for the migrants. Bishop Simon Gordon is heading the initiative. Remember him? He was the one under 2021, April Fool's Day, who said that they're going to set up Easter to help the hesitancy of our people who are hesitant with the initiatives for the crisis at that time. Are y'all putting it together? Huh? Do y'all see this? How do we know it's him? Do y'all see this? Bishop Simon Gordon. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Across the city. This is all part of Mayor Johnson's Unity Initiative, announced yesterday. Migrants will be moving into church shelters. The migrants sleeping here at the police station have been slowly packing up their belongings this morning. 17 churches are eventually opening their doors to house and feed migrants, funded by $350,000 in private donations. No
private donations, huh? So everybody's getting a little bit of that migrant cheese. Right? I wonder, was there any payments during the time of April 1st for certain initiatives? Right? Selling out his own people. But there's more.
No cost to the taxpayer.
Just feel like the churches are ready. They're excited to have, folks into into their churches. Again, it's not just housing, it's hope. And so that's the key, that we want to walk alongside them, work with them, establish them, move them on.
The goal is to have.
Now, folks, see, I'm one who can put 2 and 2 together, right? Did the one crisis make room for the next crisis, which would be replacements? I need y'all to think about this. I need y'all to think about it. Did the first crisis make room to have an easy solution for the people in the next crisis? And if so, what people are being crushed in its wake? I need y'all to think about that for a second. Because I don't believe that these tents are going to solely be for asylum seekers or whatever, illegals or whatever you want to call them at all. I believe conveniently, when our people realize that we've been double crossed and hell break loose because when our children see that there's no hope in the future, that they're going to need alternative places for our people. People who have realized that now they've been totally betrayed by the same country that they've built. And they're going to need some structure in place to organize that confrontation. And this is where the churches and all that, it will be the end of the churches, folks, altogether. Because now our people are going to see at the end of it that since the administration came in, they've been using the churches as proxy to destroy us, to have us trust those who've been destroying us since the election. You already have people in Chicago saying, let's hold our tithes from the pastors. Do not give, they say we got to pay our taxes, but we are not to pay our pastors tithing. The Chicagoans is talking about taking away tithing from their pastors, being betrayed. It seemed like everything these preachers trusted and told them to do have left to more death, carnage, and total derision within our community.
Have the migrants stay in their churches for 60 days and then hopefully transition to living on their own. Again, there are 2 buses right now here at District 5 Police Station.
Now, I need y'all to check out what these pastors doing, folks. Look at what they're doing. They're going to shelter the people who are there to replace the members of his church. Think about this. They're coming in to take all the jobs and everything from his community. So he's taking his payment on the front end, knowing there will be no church. The church was over when they sold us out during that first crisis. The churches were over. Many churches never came back after that. So I believe a lot of these guys are getting their last payout, allegedly, possibly.
The pastors are hoping to...
Or are they pastors? Are they truly pastors? Or were they put in place to become political pawns?
Raise a total of $1 million by the end of the year to help fund this effort. As of yesterday, 1,200 migrants were waiting for shelters, majority of them living at police stations.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago.
No, we ain't going to do all that. Let's go to the next one. Look at this. Looky here. Right? Major Chicago news outlet finally notices decline in migrant influx Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. Right? Now check this out, folks. I'm going to do this right in front of you. Right? I'm going to do this right in front of you. I'm going to type in Simon. And look who's down here addressing the churchgoers. Right? Addressing the last concerns at the Indiana Avenue Pentecostal Church of God in Bronzeville, Johnson was joined by Bishop Simon Gordon with the Tridestone Church of Chicago. Gordon asked Chicagoans to stand with their mayor as they navigate their plans for the unhoused. For the unhoused, we have to be good citizens and be able to accept and to deal with those who come in to be part of the process, Gordon says. Who's this Gordon, folks? He's the same Gordon, April 1st, 2021, as a pastor who had a message on Easter Sunday to convince our people in the church not to be hesitant when it comes to the rollout. Huh? Huh? And see, the Bible gives us insight on this. And you know what? It's a shame because the Bible tells us something about our people also. On the flip side, the Bible says our people trust in oppression and stay thereon. How long we been telling you about these pastors in our community Who you think allowed the community to get to where it is? Your religious leader in your community, folks, represents the integrity or the immorality of the community he leads. Right? Think about it. If you were to go to a Hasidic or Jewish community and it was war-torn and destroyed, the first thing that they'll be looking towards to why it deteriorated to nothing, they would be looking at the rabbis and asking rabbis, how could you have allowed, where's your God? How could you have allowed this to happen to your community? Right? If you went into a East Indian communities, and there's many of them in pockets in New Jersey and different parts of the Midwest and others, the first thing they would ask, well, what's up with your temple leader? Okay. What's up with your temple leader? What's going on with your religious leaders that y'all can't come together for the betterment of your people? But the Bible tells us that our people trust in oppression and stay thereon. Right there, even before this, that the whole church body should have shut this guy down and say, nah, you cannot be the pastor of the church. You're supposed to represent us. We're your sheep. We're your sheep. Let me go here real quick before opening up the lines here, because I got a few more things. What are they really doing? What are they planning in the inner cities, folks? And they're using pastors through these political initiatives. And understand that. But anytime we come up with a religious point of morality when it comes to God, the politicians will push back against us and say, well, you can't say that about the Bible or God because there's a separation between church and state. That's your own religious beliefs. We have nothing to do with that. But yet we continually allow them to do what? To dictate in our places of worship policy against our children. Right? And the Bible tells you about these teachers. The Bible the Bible talks about them. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah real quick. Right? Let me get it real quick. But it's deeper than that, folks. I'm telling you. They rolled these pastors out. Now, strategically, folks, they've been moving people around for a better part of a decade now. Putting something in place for when the people realize in the inner cities that they have been double crossed. And I believe, I'm going to tell you, I believe what they, let me show you. Let me show you. I wholeheartedly believe, folks, that what I showed y'all earlier has been getting prepared in one city to the next. Folks, under cover of migration. The only thing they need now is what? The only thing they need now is a military presence to secure these grounds. That's all they need now. Is military being put in place right up under Americans' noses? Huh? I need y'all to think about that. Isaiah 56:11, you see, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain, for his quarter. And that's what's going on right now, folks. It seems to me that these are the same people they go to when they're looking to move something in our community, to move a trust in people who believe in God. How can you use God this way? to set government initiatives against the same people who've entrusted you to guide them? I need y'all to think about this for a second, folks. Every time there's a crisis in Chicago, they roll this guy out. I need y'all to check this out, folks. And guess what? It's not just him. They got one of these or a few of these in every major inner city. I need y'all to think about this. And then you have to question, I didn't do the research, whether or not they belong to some fraternity, be it educational or either religious fraternity. You have to look into that, whether or not they are a part of a fraternal order. I'm not talking about the police either. You have to figure out whether or not they belong into one of those personal lodges. Right? So I'm going to open up the lines because maybe you've noticed some weird stuff going on lately. It seems as if we're living in the calm before the storm. Okay? It seems as if the administrations in place have been secretly attacking our people ever since the George Floyd thing went down. It seemed like they ramped it and doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on attacking us in specific. Right? Let me get this real quick and then I'll open up the lines for you. 515-605-9327. A lot of things. Hey, it's military with guns and all that in certain malls right now. What's going on? Let me get this here. 1 second. Let me get this. Hold on. Right? There's one woman, I can't get her right now. She's a woman in the churches in Chicago, and she stated, brothers and sisters, we can't hold back our taxes, but we can definitely hold back our tithing. Okay, the Chicagoan church members do not agree with them moving these people in to totally overrun the community. It will be the death of the community. Now, the mayor of New York started speaking out and said, if we don't stop these buses, it will be the end of New York City. Right? Now, he must have ruffled some feathers, right? He went off script. Eric Adams, right? Right? Eric Adams went off script, right? And now what's going on with him? Right? He went off script and said, if we don't stop this, this will be the end of New York. What do Adam know, folks? What does he know? What does he know? He says, if we don't stop this migration, this will be the end of New York. He's really talking about our people. Okay. The Jewish community, they have their own community. They're not worried about none of that going to affect their community in particular. Right? Now, look. Mayor Adams faces a sexual assault lawsuit. Here's what we know. See? So when the rubber meets the road, you have to ask whether or not these mayors and others in place, do they really have the power to actually push back on some of these initiatives that may press and or destroy our people? Speaking of the black faces they be using as mayors over our community. And I'm going to say, put it just like that, black faces. Because it might as well be the other people in blackface. Here we go. This is everything the Bible said, but now it first starts with what? Not trusting these people, opening that Bible, and understand what shepherds look like according to God. Because shepherds don't have an allegiance with the power structure. You don't have to be against the power structure, but you don't have to have an allegiance with it either. See? Right? So they said years ago, this is what they were going to do. They're going to use pastors to bring forth their initiatives. Okay, they said they would do this years ago. And now, because of that, our people have been gutted in the community. There is no getting back. It's to a point where they disrespecting our people so to a degree where they say, you know what? We're going to house the people that's going to replace your families in your community in the church until we find housing. Even though a lot of you are coming to the church not understanding on how your rent is going to be paid. What's the future for your children? They don't have initiatives and plans for their own church members, but yet is going to house these people to replace their own. $515. Do y'all see something strange going on in your communities too? Do y'all see this? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. 515-605-9327. And yeah, I'm going to play a little piece of a song a little later to get y'all take on it. I copyrighted it and I want y'all to, just so I can get your take on it. All right. Y'all opinion on it. All right. Be honest. If it still need work, let me know. All right. 515-605-9327. What say you? What say you? Let me open up the lines here. Let's see. One moment. One moment. One second. Let me see if I can do this right here. Settings. Check 1, 2. Check. Oh, that's why. That's why. I see it. All right. All right. Let's see. 515-605-9327. All right. Let me make sure I have this set up so you all can hear. Oh, yeah. And they're doing this throughout. It's like a rollout they've done since 2021, if you all understand what I'm talking about. It's the same people. Right? It's connected. Okay, let's see. One moment. It's connected. Yeah, it's connected. 1 second. There it is. All right, there it is. All right. Let me try it now, folks. Bear with me. 515-605-9327. Let's go.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Okay, we're live. If you have something to say, come on in. Have you noticed some strange operations going on in your city unbeknownst to you? If so, bring it forth. 228 area code. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder. Double honors.
How are you?
There's a lot of stuff going on in our area. First and foremost, I want to say a lot of elders for everything that you guys bring forth. And pretty much everything that you guys been saying over the years, Elder, has been coming to pass. I was a little bit ago watching the Path to the Mark when you were showing all the empty caskets. And me and my wife noticed over by Walmart that there was a bunch of those set up. And I guess people complained about them because they took notice to it and they moved those. And then another thing I noticed is they started to move a lot of our brothers out here from the Northern Kingdom out here. But, you know, I see those are our brothers. So I just be trying to reach them. But they are replacing our brothers, you know, from Judah, Levi, and Benjamin with Hispanic brothers, you know. We noticed those street lights. We noticed the helicopters. Me and my daughter, we've been paying attention for a long time, Elder.
And what?
And
hold up. What city? What city? What city and state? Again.
Oh, this brother Hayes, son of Judah, from the Mississippi body.
Mississippi.
Moss Point, Mississippi.
Moss Point.
Yeah.
Bless you, my brother.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Moss Point, Mississippi body.
Hold on. Let me switch it so that they can hear you better, okay? Because I think everyone needs to hear this. One moment. I'm gonna try something. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's do it this way. Yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. Put it through the roads.
Con.
Okay, say something now, my brother.
Con. Everything that y'all been saying for all these years. I was just watching the past videos from Path of the Mark of the Beast and the street preaching. Everything that you guys have been saying all these years is coming to pass. I remember you showed on that video all those empty caskets, plastic caskets that they tried to say was coffin liners.
Yeah,
We've seen tons of those at Walmart.
They claimed they were coffin liners, And the same time in 2009, brother, I recognized that there were these concrete in Louisiana, in Arizona, there was these concrete graves as if they were to put mass people in case a disease break out or something. It looked like near the military area in Arizona. But go on.
And you spoke on that too, Elder.
Yeah.
You spoke on that in that video. Yep. And that way before the pandemic. But like from the street lights, the caskets, them replacing our brothers with our brothers from the 10 tribes to the north, the Northern Kingdom, that's happening. But I see them as brothers. But the ones that's really committed, Elder, we doing everything we can to reach who we can, why we can, and just we out here doing the work.
Okay, brother, y'all doing
Elder,
a great job.
A lot of us.
Let me ask you a question.
A lot of us look at y'all like.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Look at you like Moses.
Hey, brother, we're
our
your
elders,
servants.
our bishops, our deacons, and our officers. Hey, I know,
servants.
Elder, but we
We're
love
your
you.
servants, sir. Hey, brother, we
love
love you
y'all.
too, brother. We're your servants, and we're just we're stepping into our calling, and we just ask you to do the same, brother. Let me ask you this, brother. When it comes to the people on the outside of the church there, are they starting to realize that they've been double crossed by the administration that's in office right now? When you speak to the people.
Emphatically, yes.
Yeah?
Emphatically, yes. 10 years ago, Elder, I told you, I've been talking to the people. You buried my mama. I'm that op.
Oh.
But 10 years ago, I was talking to the people, and they thought I was crazy. Crazy as a bitch bug, Elder. And now they told me, you need to start a YouTube channel. For 2 years, more than 2 years now, I've been giving them, I said, look, I can't take credit for nothing. I'm blessed to have elders, bishops, deacons, officers who go by that word, who help show us the way. Here's the scriptures. Here's where you can get in touch or, with the body and find out what we know and prepare your family.
Yeah.
And whether you take it for truth or you reject it. I did my job.
All praises.
I did my job. I planted the seed. And then I leave it there, Elder. But everything y'all been saying over the years, everything is coming to pass. They don't look at me as crazy no more, Elder. And the brothers and sisters that's in this body, that's committed to this body, Elder, look, I done started a business and we still struggle. So that's happening. People ain't wanting to spend. We're doing everything that y'all telling us to do. We actually going off of the wisdom. Like Elder Lawyer said, wisdom will be the stability of our time. Who do we trust? We trust our shepherds. And that's y'all, Elder.
Well, thank you, my
Point
brother.
blank, period.
Thank you, my brother.
My officer, Kashar, Sister Izara, man, Elder Facts. If y'all had done what y'all would done, if I hadn't had my officer, Sister Izara, Elder Lawyer, that's all I can say, Elder.
Hey, brother,
I'm very
listen.
blessed.
We're blessed too, brother, to have you, brother, as a brother. And it's us. It's God's people to the end. So, hey, do what you're doing, my brother. Do what you're doing, all right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And if a handicapped man could do it, everybody can do it.
Hey, brother.
Y'all,
believe
just stick
me.
with the elders, stick with the body.
Believe me, you well beyond handicap, brother. You don't got to worry about that. Believe me, you're going to be running through very soon. Shalom.
Elder, right. I'm telling you.
I know
changing life.
It's coming.
We love y'all.
All right.
We
love you
y'all.
too, my brother. Shalom.
All right.
All right.
Shalom.
All right. Let's see here. Thank you, Dale. He says, I had something on my eyes or something. I don't know. Hope it's gone. Let's see. That was 228 470 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, sir. Your name and location.
It's Kayam. I'm in North Carolina.
Bless you, my brother. Bless you. We were supposed to
Yes, sir.
we supposed to come there this weekend, but we may have to postpone it due to certain circumstances. But talk to me.
Oh, yes, sir. All praises. All praises are higher, Elder. Well, I was driving one day, and like the brother just said, the things that you've been saying has been coming to pass. All praise to the Most High, Elder, because it's like, and that's why even he was encouraging family, the family to go watch these videos and get your spirit and your temple right. You know what I mean? So you can actually see these things and rejoice. Elder, I was driving by a particular place in North Carolina, so I'm riding, and I see these like military like trucks. So I'm looking, and it's an offshore like military base. So when I'm riding, I'm like, okay, I did a little videotape, and then I videotaped it. Then when I got around the corner, I looked to the left. It's like buildings, but it got like fences with like barbed wires like protecting. So it's like it looked like it's for to keep somebody inside the area.
So what you're saying is the barbed wire is going on the inside instead of keeping someone out. It looks like it's facing more towards the buildings to keep people in.
Yes, sir. It's like you know how like they got the wire, like the round the wires like on top of the fences.
Yeah.
So that's what it got on. It's around. It's like a fence that's going around these buildings. It's like a whole bunch of buildings.
Now let me ask you,
like they tore down. It looks like
is this something new that you have never seen before? Does it look like something new that's just newly erected?
I would say that I'm new to the area. I've been here for 8 months.
Okay.
But the fences look new. The buildings don't. The buildings look like it's been there for a while, but they're like they built the fences around the buildings.
Interesting.
And put the barbed wire. It looks new. So I was just looking, and it's right by a military base, Elder. You know what I mean? And I did a small video for both of it.
Okay, thank you. Have you asked, maybe I need to see that, but have you asked someone within the proximity, since you're very new, whether or not this is something different? Or maybe you need to just ask some questions for some of the residents who are already living there to see what that is, or are they suspicious concerning certain things? Right? But let me ask you this. Was there any activity going on there?
No, it's like right by a main highway, and it's like it just seemed like it's like in an area where it's like a controlled area, it looks like, but it's by a main highway, so it's like, and there's nothing there. There's houses close, but that particular area is just like a military type of small military base with big military trucks, and it has like certain type of looking caskets, or like, not caskets, but like holding quarters or something, like small holding quarters by the trucks. But when I go around the corner, like I said, it's like a whole bunch of buildings that look run down. It looks spooky almost, but it got like new fences around it. So I'm gonna definitely add.
It's interesting. Just look into it, because sometimes they do have other military areas that are unmanned where they use for certain training and things of that nature. And sometimes they have spotty places throughout just to do their own small little trainings. They do that sometimes. They have areas where no houses, and they do special training there sometimes. So it could be that, but look into it and get back and let us know, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother. All right, Shalom.
Yes, sir. Shalom.
All right.
Shalom.
What are they planning in your area? Anything suspicious? 917 area code.
Hello, good evening, Elder. Shalom.
Shalom. How you doing, sister? Your name, location?
Well, my name is Adira. I'm actually in Brooklyn, New York. So a lot of what you were speaking about, I actually have seen. It's very interesting, too, because, I live in the Bushwick area, and a lot of Brooklyn has been rezoned because of like gentrification and things of that nature. So interestingly enough, like where I live, the helicopter patrols have like increased. This is like something that I've witnessed over the past like 2 or 3 years for sure. And then, around certain points of the month, you hear like almost like this warning siren, like one of those sirens you hear like when an area is to be evacuated. No one knows where it's coming from. No one knows like what building it's associated with, because there are a few like municipal service buildings where I live, but you hear it constantly. And it's one of those things that kind of makes you go, like, you know, like there's some sort of exercise that they're prepping people for or what have you. So certainly a lot of the things that you mentioned in the broadcast, like I've witnessed and seen personally. And, you know, it just brings to mind that, because I've been watching you guys for years now, so it just brings to mind a lot of the street preaching videos, like the brother had said previously before, or even a lot of the lessons that you were talking about where, you know, you see the jag boots coming in the streets, and you see now a lot of the people even that would be a part of like the congregations and the smaller churches that you see on every corner, on every block, pretty much quote unquote in the hood. You know, those people are really becoming disillusioned, ironically, as a result of like what they see going on with like the Jewish Israel, the Jewish like Palestine conflict and other things just going on, especially with the migrant crisis, how people are not able to access services, the migrants are, et cetera, et cetera. So
let
you're
me
spot on with everything you're saying, but a lot of everything.
Well, thank you, sister. In particular, when it comes down, because the Bible tell you at the very end is going to be confusion, right? And it's usually upon the pastors to actually untangle things prophetically for those who are in their churches, to let them know, no, Christ spoke of this. This is what you are to expect. Okay, this is what the government is saying and doing, but this is what God say is happening, right? Pastors are supposed to really, because Satan usually works beyond an era of confusion or darkness, right? So confusion is actually part of their tactics. So you would think a pastor would be in position to say, well, no, don't listen to what they're saying. Here's what God is saying. And this is what they're planning against our people as the children of God. Let me ask you this, sister, right? Do the people in Brooklyn outside of the church, because sometimes I like to understand just to get some insight to those who are actually on the outside of the church, right? And I may have a camera and go around and ask some questions very soon, just to get some good conversation going on how the world is perceiving this prophetic time. The people you run into, do they feel that they've been double crossed by the Democrats?
Absolutely. There's a general feeling of, you know, disgruntlement and anger amongst the people, even the people that would fervently support like figureheads within the Democratic Party, like, you know, your Obama or, you know, your Biden, etc. You know, the elders that, you know, we've got into bitter debates about these things because, you know, you try to bring the truth forward, but, you know, truth brings sorrow. With truth comes sorrow, and with truth comes anger, because you learn that a lot of the things you accept as true are no longer true and factual.
Okay.
And so, interestingly enough, even those people who I've spoken to, or just sometimes on the street, you know, the Most High makes it so that I overhear these things where you hear people saying like, yeah, you know, they fooled us. We can't get access to things. They trying to kill us. I hear that pretty much every time I go outside. I hear that they're trying to kill us.
And you're hearing people say that. Listen, they're trying to. You're hearing people saying actually, it seems as if politically they're looking to get rid of our people. You hear them
literally.
Saying and how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 29. I actually just had my first child,
congratulations,
just a few weeks ago, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let me place you on hold, sister, because that's deep what you're saying there. It's good. Let me tell you, it's good to be, you know, to hear what people are talking about. Let me tell you, and I know it sounds rough, folks. I know it sounds bad, but I'm gonna tell you, the fact that our people are coming to the conclusion that the powers that be aren't in position to help us. The more we come to that realization, that's a good thing. Because if you want to know what the plan was for our people under Obama, we're living it. And if you want to believe that it was Obama, then you're still not looking right. You have to understand those who are controlling the strings. The lobbyists who would actually fund wars and all these others that you see operating in the shadows, using our people or black people, even though, let me tell you, Obama wasn't even, he didn't come from amongst our people. So we've been duped with blackface for so long. And people think that blackface now only means a white racist who is mocking us with blackface. No, they changed the optics of what a black face is. They say, you know what? We're going to use an actual black face. It'll still be the racist who's looking to destroy us. All right? But we'll just use an actual black face. Let's see. 469 is good. Let me tell you, the fact that our people are waking up is a good thing, because when they begin to not trust this satanic system, they're going to be searching for answers. And that's when they'll eventually run into the God who stated all of this was going to happen. Okay? The more walls our people begin to hit, we'll realize there's only one way back. Only one way out of this confusion. And it's with the God we were attached to, the God who gave us the law. That's what it comes down to. There's no way any of our people should be listening to a pastor who's pushing something politically in his church. That's a double agent. Outright. That's a double agent. Can you imagine the churches Christ was setting up, and every week they reported, oh, this is what Caesar said is the initiative for our people this week. And we need to set up our churches for the Caesar's temple's philanthropy programs. Come on, man. These are pagan temples, folks. These are pagan temples. 469 area code. And let me say this. Hold on. Let me go back. 469, I'm going to bring you in. Let me tell you, folks, brothers and sisters, we should have known something was up. In the 90s and near the 2000s, when there was an uptick of women pastors in our churches, we didn't know that was going to translate politically on the outside of the churches where these women would become our leaders, our political leaders. Okay? Now, listen, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, people can't lie to me and all that and say, well, a lot of these women were doing it because men weren't stepping up and all that. I went through all these generations, and I understand, folks, that's a bold-faced lie. Okay? At every point when women was trying to become pastors, there were resistance. And women were still coming back with, there was Ruth, and there was this, and there was other women who were dealing with the gospel of Christ, who would see dreams and visions, and the Bible says women should prophesy. I'm going to tell you, folks, men were actually fighting against it, and women were fighting for that religious leadership within our communities against the men's resistance. So y'all can't tell me that men was fighting it. But then 501c3 kicked in. After 501c3, what kicked in right after that? You got it. The board that would be amongst the 501c3 were the women, since they were more in number in the church, began to vote out the men in the church. Okay? Leveraging the board's power against the male pastors. So when that happened, you know what men did? Men didn't say anything. you slowly began to see men not participating anymore. Men just stepped off and say, since y'all want to wrangle spiritual leadership in our communities, y'all got it. And look at the community now. So what we didn't see was them using that to have these same women become the political leaders in our community, which means the death of a community. You cannot lead a community with just women at the helm. So here we go. But then the men woke up and said, we're not going to do it from those conclaves of Satan. We're still going to step up, but it's going to be from the outside of those organized, evil, wicked conclaves of political deceit. So it's not like the men walked away. The men said, we're going to do it without the political strings attached to be controlled through these churches, because there's a connection between the control of our people and the Democrat Party. So the men didn't give up. The men said, we're going to operate on the outside of you, according to God. And then the women who respect that power and strength are going to say, that's what we've been waiting for anyway. And they're going to begin to leave those conclaves of deceit. Nobody want no woman all in front of somebody, in front of a congregation, trying to lead a congregation. Let's see, 469 area code. I'm sorry about that.
Shalom, Elder.
I think I spoke enough.
Shalom,
Let me allow
Elder.
y'all to talk. Shalom. You're here. Floor is yours.
Hi. My name is Sister Nina Garza. I'm with the Dallas body. And I live about 30 miles, 25 miles south of Dallas.
Okay.
And it has changed dramatically since I grew up here. And it's a little town, little country town. It's a suburb. And when I was growing up, it was nothing but country and farmland. Now there are so many warehouses, one after another. There's hardly any farmland left. There is a humongous Walmart warehouse that looks like a prison. If they didn't have Walmart up there, you would literally think it was a modern day prison. We have an airport that's been here forever. We have our own airport. And I just noticed within the past year, there's a house about, 3 blocks from where I live. I can walk to it. And it's always been there. It's a Masonic lounge. They have the sign and everything, the symbols, everything. I don't know how long it's been there. Well, it's 90% now. It used to not be like this. 90% now Judah and probably 8% Issachar that live here now. And that's all it is. We have our own, there's a railroad tracks right down the road. It has changed dramatically. Just today when I was coming home, I looked over and one of the warehouses is open. Most of them are empty. They're just sitting there. I'm like, why are all these warehouses here? Well, and it was called something licorice company. And I'm like, really? That big of a warehouse for a licorice company? Is licorice really in that demand? And it's just crazy to me because I can see it. I mean, there's no need for all these warehouses, one after another. I'm not kidding. We have a huge Amazon warehouse, and it's just all the farmland. Most of all the farmland is gone with nothing but warehouses.
And it's happening right up under our noses, and they're not telling none of you anything, huh?
None of us. And I don't know what other people think. Within the past 5 to 8 years, that's how much it's grown, and all the farmland's gone and just all taken over with just humongous warehouses.
Oh, well, something is going on there. Good, I'm listening.
And I feel like those warehouses are going to be used for something else. They ain't going to be used just for warehouses.
Hey, okay. Well, keep your eye on it and stay away from the warehouses. All right.
I know that's right.
Stay linked in with the body. All
Yes,
right.
thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
See, there's a lot
Bless
of
you.
weird things going on, and they're not telling the people nothing. I believe that really, even after the migration crisis are over, these tents and all that, these millions of dollars they put into building these camps will still be erected for whatever else they would like to use it for next. Keep your eyes on this. And I wanted to show y'all this real quick, folks, to show you how they were able to, what they try to do continually. I'm talking about the powers that shouldn't be, how they continually focus on dividing our people, right? Right? Because listen, they should have been gave our people who built America, the descendants of slaves, the tribe of Judah. I'm not talking about immigrants right here. They should have been gave our people reparations. We built the country. But instead of saying we owe you for building the country, they use divide and conquer tactics by what? By deceiving one side or the other. Look at this here. Here's an example. Same thing they did with the black churches. Messed up the black churches, right? By dividing it and saying, you know what we're going to do? We're going to lean on the woman against the man. Look at this. Black woman in the pay gap. So to make our women believe that they care that our women are suffering financially. Folks, how can you fix the pay gap of the black woman without fixing the black man, without paying the black man? Don't you know black women have black sons? See, I'm going to show y'all the con job they put out there to make our sisters believe that they are there to help our sisters. They don't care about the pay gap for our women. We're the only people out of all groups anywhere in the United States where they just focus on separating the black woman from the black man. This should be insulting to our sisters to see something that says workplace economic equity, black woman in the pay gap. This should be an insult. Imagine being paid over 1/3 less than white men for doing the same work. White men? Folks, it's so bad they don't even mention the black man anymore. Even in comparison, the wealth gap, they're not even using the black man in the metric. They're saying that the black woman isn't getting paid as much as the white man. They just say, listen, we're not even going to speak. You know why? They know that they can't bribe us or talk us into anything anymore. And they know that men in particular, our people, these men are over the delusion and believing in this system. Okay? That's why. They're going to have to talk turkey if they talk to men. You're not going to just sell men hope anymore. You can do that with women. Men are saying, where's the bottom line? Okay? If you got something for the Ukrainians, if you got something for Israeli and the Palestinian war, then what belongs to our people who built the country? So we're not going to deal with the divide and conquer and you using this as a way of having our women believe that you're going to help them in the future, dangling these articles like carrots on a string as if they're going to keep falling for it when our sisters are suffering in the communities. So they're not going for this either. There's a wage gap between the black woman and the white man. They're not buying it either. And guess what? You're making that gap even wider with your so-called illegal immigration asylum thing you're dealing with in the inner cities. You're making that gap even wider under immigration. So what are you talking about? So I'm saying, sisters, understand, do not fall for their political ploys. They don't care about you either, okay? 708 area code. That's no caller, okay? Dante has a comment. Shalom, Dante. You there?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. You're live.
I'm in Houston. Yes, I'm in Houston, Texas. I do not see any tent cities, any camps, but like the previous caller, it's endless warehouses. Absolutely endless warehouses, and the vast majority of them have no. They have no labels on them. They're just empty. And many of them you see, they belong to Amazon.
Okay.
Allegedly, that's, kind of my best guess. But endless warehouses, there's no explanation by anybody as to why there's so many, but that's all they're building.
Well, brother, I would like to take a second look also at all these warehouses that are being placed up under the guise of Amazon too, because it can be used for Amazon right now, right?
Right.
So
right.
So that citizens cannot actually question. Well, while these things are popping up all over the place, it's under the guise of it being a place to store things for easy delivery. Well, yes, it comes with that convenience, but during wartime, what can these same places be utilized for? See, you're not going to question it if they can come with a viable excuse why you are to accept something you would normally reject. So we need to look at that with a side eye also. But go on.
Right. Now, I used to live in a historically black part of town, and a lot of old houses. And, of course, the gentrification and the houses being built were all 300,000 and above, which is high for Texas, for Houston.
Okay.
Very high. Also, they have government buildings in the black neighborhood. There was a government building that was, I don't know if it was, I believe it said FBI or something like that, but it was just a house. It wasn't a like an administration building. It was a house, but it said that it was built by the U.S. government, and trespassers would be met with lethal force. It literally had the sign out there that said that. And this is in a low-income, affordable housing, historically black area of town. I found that interesting. And also in that same area, you had there's codes where if you build a fence for your house, it can't be over 8 feet. But they would have a lot of the immigrants, their fences would be 12 feet. And you can't see can't see anything, can't see what they're building. They'd be 12 feet and above. And you're thinking, like, how do they get the permits to be able to do this? And it's right in this old black area of town.
So, well, let me ask you this. Are the people, is the community talking amongst one another? One thing I can give the other citizens of the United States, the communities, I can give them credit for. When something pops up strange in one of these rural areas or one of these suburb towns, there's a town meeting. There's a hall meeting immediately. If something going on that no one know about, let me tell you, it'd be the teacher in school conference. They're conversating about something. The teachers are talking with but I think we're too disconnected at this point, or we're at a point where I think we've been beat down to a degree we no longer care. We're just walking around, just trying to get through a day now. But let me ask you this, pastors in your community, what are they talking about? What are the pastors talking about?
Yeah, my answer to that question is there's absolutely zero awareness from the people in the community and the pastors. There's zero mention. And if I mention it to somebody, a lot of people, they'll look at me like they're not understanding what I'm saying. Like there's some type of force field just blocking their ears. And it's very, very rare that anybody gives it a second thought.
Well,
so no, the pastors are not. They don't care anything about it. They're not mentioning it, and none of the people in the community are.
Because that was deep. Because I heard on sometime I listened to the other side too, on Fox News, where they said that the majority of the people in the inner city are walking around like mindless zombies. They use that quote unquote, and they weren't talking about any group in particular. They were just saying, and they were laughing too. They were laughing on Fox. Yeah, you know, these liberals are walking around in the inner cities like mindless zombies, and they start cackling amongst one another. So that's where we are. That's where we are, and it seems as if we're witnessing the resolve or the final solution for what the news people are calling mindless zombies. Just saying.
Right.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it.
Okay, in my last.
No, you got a point. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, well, my last observation is the amount here in Houston, Texas, the amount of new build homes, new build neighborhoods out in the suburbs and parts of the town, extremely expensive. And I wonder, and it's always, you know, it's never Black people, it's never Judah that are getting into these homes. And I always ask the question, what do these people do? What kind of jobs do they have? Because I have a decent job, but there's no way I have a skilled labor job. There's no way I could afford a $400 house. And they're building nothing but $300, $400, $500, $1,000 neighborhoods.
I mean, $500,000 houses. Yeah, but brother, let me tell you.
Yes, and
I'm gonna tell you right now.
None of them is Judah.
Ukrainians are coming in turnkey. No credit, no nothing. And see, they're able to assimilate themselves more so than what they would call Latino or Black immigrants, because unless they speak, you'll think they're regular white people. Man, they're coming in straight into the DMV with paperwork, getting licenses and all of that, getting turnkey. The Ukrainians aren't sleeping on the street. See, when Biden, brother, when Biden said the biggest issue is that the whites in America will become a minority very soon in a few years, they mean business.
Yeah.
So they're willing to give a $500,000 home to some white people who are going to come over and bring children who would have children with their children. Okay, self-preservation to them is more important than money. Okay, so they'll give them a home. Now, for our people, we get what the children of Israel has always gotten, okay, from Esau, the powers that be. But I'm going to tell you, Ukrainians are coming in. They're not sleeping in the street. A lot of those houses, if you get a chance to speak to these people, you're going to realize a lot of people, they're going to have almost no English at all. Okay, that's what's going on. That's who's getting these houses, folks, right up under your noses. And they're going to be getting the contracting jobs, all of that. Watch what I tell you. Thank you, my brother. Keep your eyes open, all right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Oh, yeah, and you know what they said? You know what they told us? They said, hey, hold up. Matter of fact, I'll let him tell it to you. I'll let him tell it to you, fair use. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm gonna let him talk to you about it. Right? Right? Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick and see if I can find this sound bite. Where? It is right here.
Democrats, Republicans, Independents,
Fair use. Fair use.
progressives, moderates, conservatives, young, old, urban, suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean it, especially those moments, and especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
You always had my back. Let's get it again.
You've always had my back.
Here it is.
You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
You've always had my back. This is what having our backs look like, folks. Go into the inner city. All right. Go into the inner city and you'll see what him having our backs are. But don't worry about it. Go to the doctor. You know, go to the doctor, get your prescriptions and whatever they tell you. And, eventually, whatever the case is, get your doses or whatever and see how it pan out for you. While the others are distributing. They're the distributors now, and there's not much I can say about that on this, but you can follow what they say if you want. All right? Brandon has a question. Yes, Brandon.
Hello?
Yes, Brandon. You have a question?
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, sir. You have a question?
Can you hear me? Yes, sir. I heard you was going to be in the Charlotte area this week. Is that correct?
I was supposed to be, but I'll know something early tomorrow. I'll know. We may have to reschedule. I'm not sure right now. We may have to reschedule. So, if it's for sure, then I'll make a quick video if we're going out to let everyone know that I'll be traveling into the North Carolina area tomorrow. I'll make a short video to let y'all know I'm coming. All right?
Okay, because me and my family still trying to get baptized.
All right. Well, hey, it's a little cold, but I'm sure we can find some water somewhere. So I'll let you know.
Okay. And another thing, what's going on in my city? I'm actually in Charlotte.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of the street lights are purple. There's a lot of purple street lights, and ever since the cough, and I know you was talking about the luciferase, I think you called it one time.
Where it talks about the luciferase or the technology of luciferase, where with those, what they was claiming a lot of things with that purple light, where it's able to know who's from who when it comes to who made that choice. That's been some of those questions out there by some. But go on. But you're seeing those purple lights again.
So yeah, that's what. Yes, and it's more than what it was before.
Interesting.
So I'm thinking that they're trying to find who got the mark and who doesn't.
Well, I'm not going to, not on this particular broadcast. We can't talk about that too much. But
right,
they got new guidelines. So when especially when I come on Patreon, do me a favor, take a picture of what you're seeing, and we'll talk about it. All right.
Okay, cool beans. Now, my wife wanted to clarify something.
Yes.
God, Yahweh, and the Holy Spirit, they're not one.
Okay, well.
Or are they?
It depends on what you mean by one. Are you questioning? Are you meaning that when you say God the Father and Holy Spirit are one, that God is Christ, Christ is God, or Christ and God can be the Holy Spirit? Is that what you're asking?
The first one you said.
Okay, put your wife.
Christ, God.
If you don't mind, put your wife on the phone and let her ask me the question. It's
all right,
easy.
one second.
If you don't mind.
All right.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. So you were asking a question, is Christ God?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think?
From what I had learned was that Christ is God's son and the Holy Spirit is his active force.
His after force?
Active force.
His active force. Right?
Yes.
Okay, and what scripture is that Christ is God's active force?
No, the Holy Spirit is God's active force and Christ is his son.
Okay, so it's one God, and you're saying that Christ is God?
That's what someone said to me, but from my belief, I was always taught that God is God Almighty, Christ is his son, and the Holy Spirit is his active force.
Okay, active force.
So I'm trying to
Okay, first of all,
is Christ.
okay, when someone say active force, what you got to do is just let's put that to the side. That's some supernatural madness that comes through philosophizing. It sounds deep. You have a Bible in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's go to the book of John, the 5th chapter.
What chapter?
What chapter?
St. John
And verse
5. Let me know when you're there.
5. Okay.
Okay. When you go to St. John 5, I need you to read with me. I'm going to let you read it, sister, okay? Read the 26th.
I don't have my glasses on.
Okay, that's fine. Have your husband read it since you don't have your glasses on.
Okay.
Okay.
5 and 26.
5 and 26, Brandon. You can read that for your wife, if you will.
For as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself.
Okay, so what we got going on here? The Father has his own life, and he's given to the Son to have life in himself. Those are two separate beings, correct?
Correct.
Right? So can you see that?
Okay, so then, yeah.
Okay, that's number one. Now we're going to go to a scripture where all three are present at the same time. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? You with me? We're going to go let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew, the 3rd chapter. Right? And what you have to watch out, especially these Jesuits, like those of the apologetics and others, they're fast talkers. And they'll try to speak from what you would call an intellectual angle to make you believe they know something deeper or to a higher understanding than others. Don't ever listen to their nonsense, okay? Let's go to Matthew, the 3rd chapter, and see what the Bible states, all right? We're going to see all three in the presence, right? You ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What verse?
Hold on. I'm going there. Let me get it.
Okay.
One moment.
All right. She over here shaking like a leaf in the wind. She ain't want to get on the phone. She gets nervous.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. And hey, listen. This is how you get to the bottom of things, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
That's all we doing here, getting to the bottom of it, right? Now, you're in Matthew 3, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're in Matthew 3, and let's start at the 14th verse, if you will, sir.
Okay, Matthew 3, verse 14.
Yep.
But John forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and comest thou to me?
Come on.
And Yeshua answering him said unto him, Suffer it to be so now, for thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness.
Read on.
Then he suffered him. And Yeshua, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting upon him.
So, sister, the Spirit that's lighting, hold up, sister, the Spirit that's lighting on Christ right here, while he's coming out of the water, is the Holy Spirit, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So those are two separate actions proving the Holy Spirit is separate from the Son who came out of the water, Christ, right?
Right.
Okay. Read the 17th verse.
That's how I was taught.
Hold up. Stick with me.
17.
Read the 17th verse.
Okay. Okay. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.
So who is this, sister? Is this not the Father saying after the Holy Spirit lighted on Christ that this is my Son whom I've chosen? That means out of all the directions or men in the earth that was sent to do any will or any directive from God at that time, this Son coming out of the water is the one, correct?
Correct.
So now you hear the voice of the Father, which means all three are separate. They're not the same. Right? The Holy Spirit lighted on the Son. And it's the Father who said, This is my Son in whom I'm well pleased. Yeah. So now, what does it mean when it states that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one? What does it mean by that? Let me give you the answer now.
They're in unity.
Let me give you, see, what we're not going to do is what they do. We're going to give you the answer that you can answer directly through the Bible, okay? So when someone asks you, well, what does it mean by the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit being one? What does that mean? Well, you go straight to 1 John, the 5th chapter, because usually what pastors do, they'll read the 7th verse and stop there, which is confusing. So you have to read 1 John 5 and 7, for it says, For there are three that bear record in heaven. Bear record was they were there before the heavens were made. There was three that bear record. The Father, the Word, which is Christ, and the Holy Spirit, the same three we've seen operating in Matthew 3. And these three are one. Well, Christians get confused and start believing that Christ is God and God is Christ by reading this. Well, the three is one. Well, God is Christ. Well, no. The next verse clears it up with a physical example you and I can relate to, okay? And there are three that bear witness in earth: the Spirit, the water, and blood. Sister, is Spirit blood? Is blood water? I'm asking you.
No.
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 But if these three don't work together, you don't have a body. Your body consists of what? Blood, spirit, and water that works together to give life. It doesn't mean that water is blood or blood is the spirit. It means they're working in union. That's why it say, and there are three that bear witness in heaven, in earth, the spirit, the water, and blood. And listen to this, sister. Here's the key. And these three agree in one. So when it states the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are one, they're in agreement as one, like a family should be. You got that?
Exactly.
So Christ didn't come down to do his own will. He said it himself. I'm here to do the will of my Father. I'm here to do the will of him that sent me. Christ didn't send himself. In the Garden of Yosemite, he prayed, Father, let this cup pass me. But if it be thy will, let thy will be done. That means they're going to kill me. I don't know if I want to go through this. But if it be your will, Father, I'll do this. Right? So the Christian church have confused everyone with that madness, with them teaching God and Christ are the same. Now, why did they do that? Why did they say that Christ and Father is the same, sister? This is why. If they can teach you that Christ is God, and then put a white man in front of you as Cesar Borgia, a Roman, as your Jesus Christ, every time you see a white man walking down the street, you see God. It was more as a psychological play on the people as a form of supremacy than it was something that could be backed up doctrinally. You understand that? Now, this is why in different parts of Africa, in Ghana right now, there's villages, Shapata tell you, there's villages in Africa that, don't forget, the majority of the Ghanaians, when they go to church, they walk to church. They have a thing there that if they see a white man on their way to church, they turn around and go back home. You know why? You have any idea?
Why is that?
Brother, they turn.
She stepped away for a second.
Listen, they turn around and go back home because they said that there's no need to go to church if they see a white man on the way to church because they've already seen God.
Wow. That's wild.
Yes.
Well, thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you. And the Most High name is Ahaya. He was here before anything. The Holy Spirit in Christ came out of him. The same way a woman would come out of a man to make children. Okay, so that was the first bearing record in heaven that would create all we see in the earth today. Masculine. What came out of masculine? Feminine, which is the Holy Spirit. And then what? Life. Those three that bear record as the first family in heaven. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So he did the same in the earth. He had man, right? Man, out of man came woman. And by them two, bearing record on earth, brought forth life. All life comes from the masculine. It's the man who has both the X and Y chromosome, which determines male or female in the earth. You got it?
Yep.
Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shalom.
Shalom.
When are you going to bring a church? When are you going to bring a church here, Elder? We need this every day, if possible.
A church where? Where are you?
In Charlotte.
Okay, we're bringing it there. I will set up a church in Charlotte. I'll do it immediately. We'll work it out. You got it?
Everywhere we've been, it's just a bunch of phony, fake doctrine that I'm not feeling that. I want to be baptized under the real Christ, under the real God. I want heaven, the real heaven. I don't want this little sugar-coated marshmallow lollipop stuff they teaching out here.
Well, brother, we're coming. Get ready. All right?
Yes, sir.
Bless you.
Yes, sir.
And nice meeting your wife, too. Shalom. All right.
All right, thank you.
Shalom. See, that's how you break mental chains off of God's people. Just the word. Have them read the word. Okay? There's no what? There's no verbal gymnastics to have you convinced and to see it thinking something contrary to the Bible itself. You go into the Bible, that's why I'm saying most people don't believe in the Bible, not because they've read the Bible, because they're confused with those who claim to uphold it. That's the confusing part. None of what these churches are saying actually is in the Bible. All right? So you go into the Bible, it makes it clear. Father and Son and Holy Spirit is one, just like any other family. And then it goes down to the next verse to give it context. The same way your blood, water, and spirit are three separate, but they work together for life. Water is not blood, blood neither is the spirit, and either or. They all have different functions, just like the Father has one function, the Holy Spirit has another function, and Christ has an entirely different function. Now, when it says God, you have to realize in the beginning it was the Elohim or the Elohim, which means more than one. It was those three celestial powers working in the heavens before the heavens were created. Period. That simple. Okay? If you're in that academy, you would have known that. All right, what's next? I'm getting on y'all now. HistoryTimes.org. Be a part of it. We make the Bible easy to understand, and we're taking it in enrollment, so get on in now. HistoryTimes.org. Mika has a question.
Hello?
Yes, Mika.
Oh, hi. I just have a question. I need the antidote for the juice because there's some people in my family I want to help.
Okay, well, I can't talk about that on this particular broadcast because of the guidelines here, but we can all talk about it. Are you a Patreon member?
I am a Patreon member, but the way my work schedule is usually I'm driving.
Okay, well
this is
what I'll do. I will take down your number and I'll give your number to a person who deals in that area, who can reach out and give you what you need. Okay, and talk to you about it. All right. Hold on, let me get it in.
Please, and if they'd like to text it, that'd be great because there's some people that in my family that really need help right now.
Okay, well, you can be the one who organizes it. It's best if there's one person that they can reach out, and it's you, and you can distribute and do whatever you want to do once you make the initial contact. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
And just tell them they can text it. I can get text messages.
Well, I'm going to give the initial contact to the person who's going to reach out to you and ask you what is it that you need. You talk to them, and y'all got it from there, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Okay.
And your name is Mika, right?
Well, it's really Shamika. I just say Mika for short. It's
right.
Shamika. Shamika.
You will get a call, all right?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Blessings.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We told our people, like, listen, hey, it's best to trust in the Almighty. Because right now, we're catching it for that decision. It's a shame. We're catching it. And some of us were just staunch proponents to a degree where a lot of us are suffering in silence, really, and are afraid to say that it's after that decision, And because why? Some of our people were the main proponents in pushing certain agendas. So, it's a shame. But, hey, as long as you're living, there's a chance. So we're going to do what we can to help. Kenneth has a comment. Yes, Kenneth.
Shalom, Elder. How are you?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. First and foremost, I just want to say all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, and His Son Yeshaya, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ruach Kodesh. Pardon me for any background noise. I am working. I'm a truck driver right now. So.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us what you got.
But yes, sir. I live in Washington State. I'm in the Washington body. I got baptized this last February.
Oh, praises.
Under Deacon Bakar. And
round of applause.
The very next day, I got fired from my job.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. What'd you get fired for? What'd you get fired for?
Well, they had a company policy for winter weather. And
what
so
do you
they
mean?
said if
What
the
do you
weather's
mean?
bad enough to put chains on.
Okay, what do you mean a company policy for winter weather? What are you talking about?
Yes, sir. They had a company policy to, if the weather's bad enough to put chains on, then to just shut down and wait until the storm is over. And so when I was late with my delivery, they said because I was late, they let me go.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. You working on getting another job?
Yes, sir. I do have another job right now.
Okay, that's
I got
good.
another good job, and my boss actually lets me have the Sabbath off.
Hey, brother, listen. It's
So
like
that's
this.
Amazing.
It's like this. One door closes, another one opens. And I've always
Yes, sir. The Most High.
I've always taken even the negative as a positive. It's as if the Most High is directing us where He needs us to be. So, so that's good. Now you got a job, and on top of the job, you have a boss out of nowhere who finds favor and say, "Yeah, you can have off the Sabbath." Look at that. That's how He works. But go on.
Yes, sir. On that same point, the way the Most High works is just incredible because when I had lost that job, I signed up to come and stay at this homeless veterans shelter while I was getting back on my feet. And I've been there for several months. I got another good job. I got a car again.
Okay.
And
well, listen, bro. I'm with you. I'm with you. But we gotta get up on it because I got a lot of people waiting. So,
yes, sir.
What you got for me?
I wanted to tell you that in regards to the topic this evening.
Yeah.
I've been noticing how the way that the state is treating the veterans. And
how are they treating the veterans?
It just seemed very convenient to me that in the middle of winter they started renovating all the rooms and started moving everybody over into a communal room like you were showing earlier. And they've got this right before it happened, they started handing out everybody free laptops and free phones with programs on them that track you wherever you go. And you can't remove the program.
Interesting. Okay.
And just from a security standpoint, I just found it really convenient. Not that there's any such thing as a coincidence. But
okay, well,
it's like they're tracking where all the veterans are and seeing where they're going to go. And
well, that's interesting. That's interesting, Ken. Let me place you on hold. I gotta get the next call, but very good points you made there. All right, quite interesting, brothers and sisters. Because what Kenny's saying is that they're doing a lot of testing with those veterans and others, putting them in community rooms and all these others, where now they're testing the tracking devices, using veterans as a beta test. And I'll tell you this, that doesn't surprise me. And the other thing that doesn't, you have to realize right now where we're going at as far as, right now they're going into assisted living. We're hearing that's the next phase in housing when it comes to assisted living, as well as people moving out of main regular old housing authority into assisted living where they'll be taking their medications and all that, in an assisted living place. So, hey, here we go. It seems like that's where we're going for the new housing, public housing, opposed to how it used to be before, where you go into a controlled setting for living instead of being free to operate like we used to under public housing. This is where it's going. And in these places, you have to make sure that, you're on schedule with your medications and all that. So, yeah. Here we go. Andrea has a comment.
Hi, elders. Shalom. Can you hear me?
I am blessed by the best. How are you? And his name is Ahaya. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
Andrea.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. The strange thing that I noticed in my neighborhood is I'm over here in Detroit, Michigan, and there's a lot of public storage units going up. There's like a lot of them, and they all like huge, and they look like prison complexes.
Interesting.
I thought that was very strange.
What part of Detroit?
Like the West Side.
And is there any conversation?
I don't know
is there any conversations amongst those in your community about these weird happenings?
Yeah, a lot of people say like they're gonna start storing people in there.
Who's saying that? That's what the people around you are speculating?
Yeah, a few people said that. Yeah, it was a few people like, don't get a storage unit. They're going to start storing people in there. Watch.
Lord.
It's a lot of them, like a lot.
That's interesting. I mean, what are the dimensions on these?
The public storage units, they're huge. They're constantly building them. They're like really big, and they go like you look, and it's like all the way down, and it's like one big giant building and another big giant building and another one, and I'm like, are people really storing their stuff like that?
Sister, we've been talking about this, believe it or not, since 2008, 2009, about a lot of these so-called storage areas, how they could be conveniently manned and turned into something, you understand, for convenience, for convenient housing. So let's keep our ear to the ground on that, on whether or not they're going to say the migrants can stay in some of these, because that's code words for, eventually we can use anybody to be here. Migrants can be living in some of these self-storage places where it's already divided, and the money can go towards renting storage space so that they can live there. Keep your eye on whether or not they'll do that, because usually it starts with them doing it with people who the majority of the citizens wouldn't bat an eye twice about, because it isn't them, right? So let's keep an eye on if they say migrants, some of them are staying in storage places. Because when you go into these storage places, it looks, a lot of these places, when you go to, when you're moving your clothes and having your stuff there, your furniture, a lot of them actually look like holding cells. When you look at them.
Yeah.
A lot of them look like holding cells. So let's keep our eyes on that. Thank you, sister. And stay away from those buildings, all right?
Okay, thank
all right.
you.
All right, bless you. All right. All right, Dawada has a comment.
Shalom, Elder.
Blessings. How are you?
I'm doing great. All praise to the Most High for this call, and for you, and for Elder Lawyer, Elder Gaja, and what you do.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be bringing Elder Gaja on Zoom. But go on. If you're out there, Gaja, come on in.
The comment I have. Shalom, Elder.
Talk to me.
Well, the comment I have, Elder, when you said the pay scale for our sisters, our black women, I work at a Fortune 500 company. I'm from Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I see that our sisters are not competing with white males for a pay increase. They're competing with the LGBT community in my building.
Yeah.
Because they have their own community, they have their own website, they have their own WebEx, they have meetings. They have monitors all around the whole building showing the LGBT community going out to the communities and doing events. And in these clips, they're mostly our sisters supporting them but the sisters get no support on increasing in the business.
And that's a shame because I'll tell
our
you,
board meetings we see.
let me tell you,
our board
they be
meetings-
using our sisters as a front for whatever initiatives they would like to bring forth initially. And then after that, after they use us as a front, they push our sisters to the side and bring forth their own agendas. So it's time for them. It's time for be like, listen, if you with it, it's going to come down to this. People can identify whatever they want to identify with. It's America. At the end of the day, if you are a part of our people and you identify with something else, then you got to go over there with that group. You can't identify. You can't be dabbling in both places. You can't say you're down with this group and all that and still think that you're down with us. It doesn't work that way. And vice versa. And it's time for us to make a clear distinction on moral grounds. If you're going to identify with something else, then that means you can't get nothing from where we stand. You go and be a part of that, because it's that gray area they play in using our sisters. And at the end of the day, our sisters are discarded. And now they use us as a front to claim diversity. But then you have white people and others who haven't suffered like we suffered, have families who are a part of helping us suffer, now benefiting as migrants based on their sexual preferences. It's time for us to get rid of all that mess. And it's time for us, and you know what? And listen, it's time for our sisters to stand up and not be used by these groups anymore. They have to stand up. Now you got a dude running around, well, Saucy Santana or something. He's running around. Whoever this guy is, he's running around now dissing sisters, making sisters think they're ugly if they don't have BBLs, eyelashes, and a lace front. And it started off, I'm gonna tell you, it started off subtle. It started off with guilting women and saying, why can't you get your husband or your man to accept if your child chooses a different lifestyle? That's how they came with it. As a victim being discarded by their families. That's how they was able to get our sisters on board with supporting it, saying, well, listen, the old empire narrative of them being rejected strictly for their choices, when that never existed in our community. No one was rejected for nothing. But whatever you do and it's against the moral standards of our family, it can't be done here. So what do? They pulled on the heartstrings of our sisters and got our sisters to back it. And now the floodgates has opened up. And now the same people, because the brothers weren't going for it, the same people who have supported all of their groups are now what? Bashing and attacking the sisters who opened the door for them, who was always supporting them when no one else did. And folks, it's the same playbook. The same playbook they use in feminism. There's no way they would have executed feminism unless our sisters was able to go to the side and try to claim they want what the white women want in equality, using us so that the white woman who was a part of oppressing us back there doing Jim Crow and all that, giving them the lane to be called a minority amongst a people they help oppress. Same thing. They have to align themselves with our sisters first, and our sisters are so caring and don't want anyone else to suffer, don't want anyone to go through that. They're willing to sacrifice themselves for the embetterment of everyone else. And it's time that our sisters stand up and say no more. If it ain't me first, and sisters got to stand up. Listen, it's going to be me and my man. That's it. If it's not for us together, take it. We're not for it. That's it. It's me and it's us and our men. Period. Just like any other group, we're standing with our men now. That's how. I'm sorry, you got the last word.
Elder. Yes, Elder, and I see it every day.
My son sent me something a Saucy Santana. I'm like, what is that? Lord have mercy. If
Elder,
if the Lord is not going to have it rain fire,
this building.
But go on.
Yeah, this company only has about, I say, 2% black men in it, and out of 2%, 30% are straight men.
Mm.
And we have this ongoing thing that I tell my brothers all the time, hey, don't engage them. Brothers, here's a pamphlet. Let's talk about it. Don't engage them. They engage you, walk away. Because it's so sad if you say something negative, if they feel negative about the conversation, they go straight to HR.
I mean,
And
brother,
it's so sad. I've seen brothers lose their jobs because of saying hi.
brother, let me tell you, I thought we had it rough in the corporate world in the 2000s, where the only thing you had to worry
Right.
about was probably a scorned HR woman who didn't have anything going on the outside of the corporate job and was trying to flex on men with the opportunity being an HR person, right? I thought we had an issue there and having to overcome the stigma of if you talk with someone, whether or not they're going to see it a certain type of way and run the HR. Can you imagine being in the corporate structure now where people who are offended over anything now can now have your job?
It's terrible, Elder.
I
they
mean,
just had their
tell you.
Halloween celebration, Elder.
Listen, I couldn't
And
do
their
it.
Halloween celebration, Elder, they had. I wasn't there at work that day, but they were taking pictures and putting them on the company website. There were some people with outrageous costumes,
brother,
gender rolling. It was crazy.
Brother, listen, I remember one time, and when I was dealing with the corporate world, you know, Calling Floors and all that others, and I dealt with even Fortune 500 companies, like in the early 2000s. Let me tell you something. At that time, it wasn't as out as it is than what happened after Obama, where you would have a guy, you know that he was, walking a little gingerly, but but outwardly he wasn't flexing like that. But the women, our sisters knew,
But they
okay,
flex now.
yeah, right. So I never forget this story where I'm not into this thing where men are a part of rumor mills, right? So I had this one guy. He was a white guy, and I understood that he was probably on the other side of things before they was claiming flags, and somehow I was able to intercept one of the emails that he was sending to a sister, speaking about me as far as my work ethic through his view, and both of us were managers, right? So I'm like, okay, so this is how, and you talking about keeping rumors and arguments, and they'll sit around and cause conflict only to sit back to admire their handiwork without anyone knowing that they're actually agitating and stirring things up in the office. And that was back then when it wasn't everywhere, where you probably have one per office, I thought at that time. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you, brother, I seen that email, and I seen who it was CC'd to and all that. And, I went to him one-on-one. I waited until everything was calm. The floor was done. We was pulling down the numbers and doing what we had to do there, shutting down the computers to leave. And me and him had to shut down, and you started letting, the employees out. And I say, yeah, by the way, brother, I want to speak to you for a second. He's like, he did like this, and, like he was clutching his pearls, And I say, yeah, I need to speak to you, sir. He says, sure, Richard, sure. I'm like, okay, great. We go into the office, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, sir, let me make this clear to you. If there's something that you have to say concerning how I perform my duties, first of all, brother, you're not in position over me. You understand that? Then he says, what is this, Richard? I'm like, listen to me, sir. Don't ever send an email with my name in it, and you sitting there laughing and joking with me every day. And if there's something wrong that you can't tell me to my face, I find that very undermining and very disrespectful. Okay? Don't ever send an email with me in it. Are you threatening me? I'm like, sir, of course I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you, men don't operate that way. All right? So what I'm telling you is, if you do it, then understand that there will be a recourse. You know, the next day I was at HR, and he says HR, and they saying that I threatened the brother. Well, I mean, he wasn't a brother; he was a white guy. I'm like, I didn't threaten him. I told him. Look, I said, listen, he's not to send emails with my name in it, okay? Which is a violation of my privacy and a violation of me with a peer whom when he does something wrong, I'm telling him, I train him on what to do. Okay? So no, we're not working like that. I'm like, listen, don't ever, I bet you what, brother, there was never another email with my name in it. Okay? So the whole thing is, brother, they work behind scenes trying to get people fired so they can have more come in and get other people out of the way, so their interests and people who are part of their interests are more attended to than us. And it's because our people always back other groups outside of understanding that these people have always attacked and destroyed us. So yeah, brother,
yes, Elder.
I can't even imagine working in the corporate world right now. But go on.
And I had to go to HR because I made a statement to this one brother, Alternative Lifestyle. He walked up to me and he said, hello. I said, well, how you doing? And then the dude flipped his hands down like his wrist was broken. And I said to myself, and I said it out loud, I said, you a boy, Damon, you a boy. And he went straight to HR and said that I offended him by calling him a boy gender. So that was something I had to go through, and then the whole ordeal was.
Hold up, let me make it clear. You called a male, and you got pulled up for that.
Yes, Elder. Yes.
I wouldn't make it. I don't know how you listen. Just walk through.
Can't make it up, Elder.
Let me tell you, we're living in the days of Lot, my brother. The days of Lot, where they have taken full reins of power. And it's a shame when men have to walk on eggshells. What type of world is this? Where a man cannot be a man. A man will not be readily accepted even in the corporate world unless he's willing to tone down his manhood.
Yes, that's the thing. Our sisters do not see masculine men. They see me and about 5 other brothers who are masculine. After that, they are got the LGBT community all around them.
Oh, man. What type of broke backness are we living under right now, brother? I just say keep your head forward, keep your head on the swivel. Do your job.
Yes, sir. All praise to the Most High.
Pray continually.
All praise to the Most High.
Okay. All right. Bless you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Water, Elder. Water.
Shalom. All right. Let's go through here. Bamaya has a question. Bamaya?
Okay. Shalom.
Shalom. How are you? I mean, this thing have made a turn. This thing have turned into a whole different broadcast. But go on. We have to laugh to keep from crying. But go on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't disturb the flow of the show.
Oh no! I think you're gonna turn this thing back. We're gonna put this thing back on tracks. All right, we're gonna put it back on the rails. You know, it went all the way.
Absolutely.
But come on, talk to me.
Yes. This is Brother Vamaya. I actually I couldn't help but comment on the topic, but also I do have a question, it never fails. It always tends to be an agenda. Every generation, with the inner city, we move in. price of living goes up. We bring all the business. They move us out. And, they got to figure out a plan of what to do with us because they don't want us in the cities once we raise the value of that area. So, and I'm sure you've gone over that. I mean,
yeah.
we know about that. But in terms of like, I couldn't help but comment on the workforce. I feel like, Elder, you really do. You're really good at having a good faith conversation, and just the whole standpoint. That's why I asked you about one of the big wigs in our community for the church. In the church, because it's like everybody runs the other way, but it's a real good thing to be able to address or have these, be sober-minded about these things. And the workplace, our men, our people in the workplace, I think we know that, they don't belong. And I think you're probably using wisdom because you understand a lot of us still have to work. But, it's where it's going. It's like you either got to be a sodomite sympathizer or you don't have a job. It's just that's what it is. But that conflicts with the Word of God, and so it's we're looking at Jacob's trouble shortly. Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't know how much responding I can do on that without saying allegedly and that the fact that it's your opinion on certain scenarios as far as that, especially with the sympathizer type deal. But the only thing I have to say is we're in a time of Lot. We're in the same exact spot before the Most High decided, you know what, it's time to rain fire down. That's where we are. And what happened, man, boy, did they do a bait and switch on us. That whole Barack Obama alleged Marxism plan to make us believe that this was some civil rights to help black people finally was really the biggest con in the history of the earth. When really the groups that we see benefiting was the plan the whole time to put them in power at a key time in history. Don't forget, brother, before Barack Obama came on the scene, our brothers and sisters, we were ready to walk away from the electoral process altogether. We realized there was nothing left for us. And finally, we began to talk to one another until they pulled the con of all cons. And when that happened, he got in the first 4 years, and our people, with all that hope, saying, well, listen, you can't expect the brother to do anything right now. He's up against the Republicans and all that. Give him 4 more years because he have to do it on the way out. You know what I mean? He have to do it on the way out because if he do it now, he won't be able to deal with the whole term that it takes to turn things around. Brother, 8 years is a long time. And right before he went out the door from his second term, we understood what the plan was. Gay marriage, and then equality in the workplace, as they call it, diversity, where now all the positions that was manned by black women and black men, now it's a free-for-all now. All that, what you would call, when it comes to equality on the job and certain number of jobs have to be given to black people and all that under the quota, all of that was gone because now it was open for how you identify sexually to get access to the jobs that were originally for us. It was over as far as power in the corporate world for our people who had status. And at that time, that destroyed our upward mobility when it comes to being able to provide for our families. And now they became the vanguard. They became the taskmasters over the community. And no money can come to any of our children, even those who have built the country, unless it comes through a diversity type of organization first, who siphon in the money to whom they choose. It's over for our people in these communities. Okay? It's over. And now, only thing they have to do now, my brother, they just have to just turn the vice now. They got a firm grip on our people, and now they're turning the vice, and now they're showing what they've always felt about us. And this is what happens when we began to align ourselves against our moral standings. For years as a people, we understood all types of activity existed, but we kept a separation between those who want to operate immorally and those who who really was conservative at heart. We're not liberal people. We were always people who was more so God first, family first. So this is what happens when we begin to compromise just because they would put a black face in front of us. Man, what a con job. But you know what, brother? I'm going to tell you, believe it or not, it's good. It's good. Anyone who trusted the system after what happened with Barack Obama, really what they're saying is they deserve everything they get out of the system. How can you be fooled again when the guy you thought was for you portrayed you for an entirely different group, not based off of them building the country like our people, based off of their sexual choices? I need you to check that out. And I'm being as, I'm straddling the fence on this as much as I can, but I just want people to know at the very end of it, brother, what you're suffering is the same thing as Lot. You go to the book of Genesis and see it. Lot slowly but surely seeing what? The whole community of Sodom and Gomorrah slipping away. And it's because they were able to get themselves in positions of power so that they can finally execute their hatred against those who truly believe in God. And that's what's going on right now. All right?
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Well, yeah, Elder, for the sake of time, I just want to ask the question. I've been in 2 academies. It's great that I can tune in, but if I could somehow get in contact with an elder, that would be great. So I can try to get connected with the church.
Okay, what area are you in?
Well, I am in Washington, but again, if it's possible, I'd like to talk with an elder. That'd be great.
Washington, D.C., Washington State?
State.
Okay, yeah, I got to ask somebody for you. Hold on. 26. Okay, Benaiah, Washington State. I'm gonna get your rock to reach out to you, okay?
Okay, are you talking about the elder?
Yep, the elder. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that, elder.
I appreciate you. All right. Blessings. All right. I guess we can take one more call. 340 area code. All right, Sunshine, you got to jump on in. It's late.
Okay. Hi, Shalom. Hi, Elder.
Shalom.
Hi, Shalom. Oh, Elder. Okay, wow. Productions and spectacles are here, there, and everywhere, just as Christ told us There are wars and rumors of wars, be it with the media push towards more of the medical, biological self-sacrifice under a claimed convenient code, or with ways of further disenfranchising and tightening of that residential and financial noose around the neck of the poor. On and on, it has been a non-stop, no-holds-barred, perpetual assault on the saints of the Most High and unsuspecting or naive followers of this world, who many are of this world. And the brazen, bold, in-the-face admission by political talking heads in coded tongue that the ongoing sacrifice of our people that are happening should not only continue and be expected, but it must be embraced as a norm and only intensify and amplify in our communities, all the while, even like a slap in our faces in disrespect, sidestepping anything to do with reparations. And it's a full-fledged, all-out floodgate of aggressive attempt to meld one hot pot of trials and tribulations into another to oppress the poor, steadily wearing out the saints. The housing is claimed inevitable, while reprieve for this loss shows further measures of downgrade of any status a U.S. citizen had. And it's a targeted blow of degradation for the poorest communities, who are predominantly the children of Israel, and herding the people into tiny houses, temporary, movable, and even guarded facilities of stipulated or regulated trailer house prisons. And at the head of our herds are the hirelings, the betrayers of the sheep, to create the hook, line, and sinker social cataclysm, so that blood touches blood, and the whole world, and especially one Israelite to another, is frustrated under the cover of migration and multiculturalism, as before in the days of old when the kingdom split. But what is not considered fully seen by the blinded, while all this betrayal is going on to create such a cataclysm, is the unshakable prophecy. And what also is unconsidered is how that prophecy of the word let us know that all these things should come to pass, but the end is not yet. So whatever social cataclysm is scheduled against us will fail, because it'll be cut short in its time and ultimately languish, so that we, according to the word, will receive our promise, a promise that will never fail, because of the Most High's love for our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so it won't continue. Everything that they do will be void. And we can identify the betrayers, the puppets and puppeteers in high and low places as fruitless fools that will, in this world, with all their sound and fury, continue to signify nothing, because they have not hope. They have not the blood of the Lamb, which is and always will be Christ Yeshua. And that's all I wanted to say, elders. Praise the Most High.
Bless you.
Praise the Most High.
All right. Shalom. Shalom. What a great call. She always ended. I think she write all that down too. Lord bless her soul. All right. That concludes our broadcast, but I want y'all to hear a song. I copyrighted it today. And there's a surprise, because I said I was going to, Nate came over from the UK. We did 2 songs. I copyrighted one today. And I wanted your take on this, brothers and sisters. All right. I want your take on it. Right. He came over from the UK. Nate did a great job. He was here for a couple of weeks almost. And I have a project I'm working on. But this particular song, when I heard it, it lent towards, I was thinking of a baby who's in the womb of a woman, a daughter of Zion, and the mother is deciding on whether or not the child should come to be. Right? Listen to this clearly. And we're going to do a video on this. We're going to work on it. The child senses danger and is trying to reach out to the mother because the mother don't understand that the baby was sent from the Most High with a message. Right? The baby has a message that can only happen if this mother decide to deliver the prodigy. So this is the baby singing from the belly of his mother. Listen to this.
I've been waiting here. I'm just waiting here. You feel my heart beating. I hear you breathing. Help me see the light. Oh, will you fight for me? You'll be proud of me. Can't you see? I was meant to be. Fight for me. I'm your son. Mama, fight for me. Think this through for me. Don't act selfishly. They're in your ear. The pressure's here. Stave off your enemy. Time is running out. The clock is ticking down on me. I can be a prophecy. I have ideas to set us free. The choice is yours, don't hinder me. Help me heal the world of this disease. Have me. It doesn't matter what they say. Don't let the world get in the way of your promised prodigy. Save me. See, I can be your promised prodigy. See, I can heal the world of this disease. I'm just waiting here. I'm still waiting here.
Man. Shalom. Have a good night. May the Most High be with you. And of course, we're going to put that on the project. Keep your support out there and understand, sisters, you're bringing forth the prophets. Shalom.